Germany's new navy begins to take powerful shape. From the yards at Hamburg, hard by the Kiel Canal, which Hitler has announced is to be widened and deepened, 35,000 tons of German steel is ready to be launched in the presence of the Führer himself. The christening ceremony is performed by the granddaughter of Prince Bismarck. She breaks the conventional bottle, and the great vessel starts down the slipway.
Pride of the Nazi Germany, the terror of the Atlantic, the legend forged in steel and fire. This is the story of the German battleship Bismarck. In the late 1930s, as Europe stood on the brink of war, Germany unveiled a warship so massive, so heavily armed, that it stunned the world. Launched in 1939, stretching over 250 meters long and displacing more than 50,000 tons fully loaded, Bismarck was not just a battleship, she was a floating fortress. Her armor was layered and thick, designed to deflect the heaviest shells. Her 8 15-inch guns could hurl massive projectiles over 20 miles with devastating accuracy. Each broadside was like the hammer of a god striking the sea itself. She was built to dominate the Atlantic, to hunt convoys, to shatter the Royal Navy's supremacy, and for a brief thunderous moment, she did. May 1941, Bismarck, accompanied by the heavy cruiser German cruiser Prince Eugen, slipped into the cold waters of the North Atlantic under the command of Admiral Günther Lütjens. Their mission, break into the open ocean and destroy Allied shipping. The British were waiting. In the icy Denmark Strait, Bismarck encountered the pride of the British fleet, the mighty battlecruiser HMS Hood, alongside the battleship HMS Prince of Wales. What followed was one of the most dramatic naval duels in history. Shells screamed across the horizon, guns roared like thunder, steel clashed with steel. Then, a single catastrophic explosion. A Bismarck shell pierced Hood's weak deck armor, igniting her ammunition magazine. In seconds, the pride of the Royal Navy vanished in a pillar of flame. Over 1,400 sailors were lost. The sea swallowed them whole. Shockwaves rippled across Britain. The cry went out, "Sink the Bismarck." What followed was one of the largest naval hunts ever launched. Aircraft carriers, cruisers, destroyers, the full might of the Royal Navy surged into the Atlantic. Among them was the aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal, whose torpedo bombers would change history. Though Bismarck had suffered damage during the Denmark Strait battle, she was still powerful, still deadly, still capable of escape. But fate intervened. A single torpedo struck her rudder, jamming it. The giant battleship could no longer steer. She circled helplessly in the dark Atlantic waters. The hunter had become the hunted. At dawn on May 27, 1941, British battleships closed in, including HMS King George Fuff and HMS Rodney. What followed was not a duel, it was an execution. For nearly 2 hours, Bismarck endured relentless bombardment. Shell after shell smashed into her superstructure. Guns were silenced. Fire raged across her decks, steel twisted. Towers collapsed. Yet she refused to sink. Even shattered and burning, she floated. Even defeated, she endured. Finally, scuttling charges were set by her own crew to prevent capture. Torpedoes struck her hull, and slowly, majestically, the great battleship rolled and slipped beneath the Atlantic waves. Out of more than 2,200 crew members, only 114 survived. The Bismarck's career lasted barely 9 days in combat, but her legend endures decades later.